Hello, everyone, and welcome to podcast number 2.
Número dos.
Número dos. I am Mariel, and this is my husband, James. Hi.
Hi.
And today we're going to be talking about,
Our first experience with video games.
yes, childhood video games.
Yeah.
So do you want to take it away,
Sure.
James? Do you want to start?
Yeah, because I got my story already.
By the way, this podcast is sponsored by coffee. Not really, we're just drinking coffee.
I have decaf.
I'm like full on coffee because
Full on.
I need it. Anyway, sorry I interrupted
No,
you
you're
so
fine.
abruptly. Go
You're
ahead.
fine. So, I just had the idea for this because we were talking about it for some reason. And I just remembered the first time I ever was given a video game. I don't remember if I'd played anything before that, but I was probably 3 years old, living in Vancouver. And
3 years old? Wow, that's really
yeah.
young.
And
Really
well,
early.
Well, I just remember my dad traveled a lot for work, and sometimes he would take me with him. Maybe my mom would go, whatever, and this was like a trip to California.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going to Sears, and he took me in, and I see the original Nintendo, not to date myself at all, but the original Nintendo, which came with Duck Hunt and Mario on the shelf, and I was like, I want that, and he goes, no, I'm not getting you that. Like,
Aw.
you can't use that in the car. I'm not getting you that. So he takes me over and he gets me the original Game Boy.
Oh.
And he said you can pick out one game to go with it. And I don't remember what I picked. I think what was picked was I couldn't decide for myself. The Game Boy came with Tetris.
Oh, okay.
And the sales rep said, well, this is the most popular game. And he got me the original Super Mario. And so I had this Game Boy, Tetris.
Do you remember the music?
Not really. I
I
don't remember. Sorry.
I remember it. Sorry. Anyways.
But no. So he bought me a bunch of batteries, and the idea was it was supposed to keep me entertained while we drove to California. And I just played tons of it. And I remember so vividly this store, like this Sears, and where everything was, and how excited I was that it's like I have this Game Boy, and it was massive for my hands.
Yeah.
And it worked great during the day, but when we were driving at night, I couldn't see the screen, and so
Yeah.
I just had to put it away.
I remember that. You couldn't really...
Yeah, they weren't backlit.
Yeah, you had to have a special light and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that. And they actually sold the little lights separately so you can use them. We never actually purchased one for our Game Boy, but...
Nope.
But yeah, I remember that. That's crazy.
So, I mean, that was a lot shorter than I expected it to be, but that was my story.
That's your story.
That
Well,
was my story.
you better have more
Well,
stories.
we can talk about more, but let's jump to yours.
So my first experience, oh, by the way, I'm kind of sick, so sorry if my voice sounds kind of weird. I always get sick, like, right before something very important. Anyways, my first experience, I don't remember how old I was, but I was really little, too. And I have an older brother. I have an older brother and a younger brother. But back then, little brother wasn't born yet, so it was just myself and my older brother. And my dad, quote, bought us the Nintendo, the very first one, but he really didn't buy it for us. I think he purchased it for himself with the excuse that it was going to be for myself and my brother. So the first game that I remember playing has to be, I think it's called Contra.
Mm-hmm.
That there's, I remember it, like, it's two characters.
Yeah.
And you shoot things, right?
Guns.
Yeah, but you should add things. Sorry.
Bad guys.
And I don't know if this was the game. Did you play Contra?
Once or twice.
Gosh, it's just I don't remember if this was the game, but I remember a scene very vividly that you are on a cart, and one of you is shooting to the front and another one is shooting to the back because they're attacking you. But I don't remember if it's Contra. It seems like Contra.
I think that's Contra.
And it could be.
Yeah.
I think that is Contra because I
Yeah.
can't remember of any other games that we had back then that would have the cart system. So that I remember that super vividly. But later on, I mean, we still played the original Super Mario. Well, not Super Mario, which is Mario Brothers. The original Mario, and my father eventually bought us the little pad to run.
Oh, the track and field
Yeah,
pad?
yeah, that one.
Yeah.
And we also, the other one, we didn't buy it, the one with the gun for the duck hunt. We didn't buy it. Somebody else, one of our friends, one of my older brother's friends had it, so he would bring it over and we would play that one. We didn't owe that one, but I remember playing that one as well. And it was like one of the best things ever. I just, like, I don't know, like, it was one of the coolest things to have. Like, there were so many things. Like, I'm just really happy that we were born when we were, because we experienced video games when they first came out. I think my dad even had the Atari, but I never played it because I was probably a baby or something like that, or I probably wasn't even born. But yeah, we experienced the very first Nintendo. And I don't know about you, but did you blew on the cartridges?
Of course, yeah.
Even though it was told like you shouldn't blow on the cartridges. That's what we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was pretty fun. I really love that one. What else did we play on the Nintendo? Oh, the one with the Mario, the one with Mario World or something. I can't remember. I should have Googled this before we started the podcast. Gosh, Mario 2, I think it was.
Oh yeah.
The one with Luigi.
Super Mario Bros. 2. Because there were on NES there was 1, 2, and 3.
Yes.
And 2 was like the weird standalone.
Yes, that
didn't
one.
Fit. Yeah.
The one that you could play as Peach and Toad.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh gosh, that's one of my favorite video games. Yes, it was so different. I loved it, and I love being Peach because you could fly with Peach a little bit. So I just loved it. It was one of my favorite ones, and the enemies also were really cool, and I loved the music. Like, it was just one of those games that I wish I still had it. And I think you can purchase it on the Nintendo Wii store, right?
I don't know if the Nintendo Wii store is still up. I think it's down. But there's other ways to get it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you can still buy the. I mean, they're also gonna be. I don't know if they're or did they already sell it? The small Nintendo one, the new one,
the Super NES.
Is it a Super NES or
so
is it
they did the original classic NES last year. This year they're doing the Super Nintendo.
Oh wow, we missed on the purchase on the other one though. Can we still purchase it, because that would be awesome?
Probably can, but they're really expensive now. They were like $70 at the time, and now they're probably a couple hundred.
Man, because I want to go back and play those games. Like, I think that would be awesome to do. It's just Mario is one of the games that you just have to play. I never played Donkey Kong though. The original one. Was it called Donkey Kong, the one that you have to save Princess Daisy?
That was.
Yeah, right. I think it was called Donkey Kong.
That, yeah.
I think so. I never played that one until I hit like probably middle school, and I went to arcade shops and stuff. Yeah, but I didn't have it for the Nintendo. I just thought I'd bring it up because it's another of my childhood video games. We also had the bazooka. Did you have the bazooka for the Super Nintendo?
Never had a Super Nintendo.
What? You never had a Super Nintendo?
I was gonna wait and then tell you my console history.
Oh.
So I was gonna jump into that next.
Now I feel bad.
No,
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Well, we had the Super Nintendo, which is the one that I probably remember the most of. Well, besides the Nintendo 64. But the Super Nintendo, we had so many games. Like, that's when we started playing X-Man. Mega Man. X-Man. Mega Man X was my introduction, and it was amazing. I love that one. But we also had a lot of games that you could play with the bazooka, and there was one that you would ride Yoshi. And my brothers and I, because at this point my younger brother had already been born, so yeah. Okay, so my brothers and I'm gonna put both of my brothers there.
If it wasn't him, who was it?
Who was it? Probably friends. I don't know. But we would on purpose shoot Yoshi to see his reaction, because you couldn't actually hurt Yoshi. It was just kind of like a animation. Yeah. So he would turn around and look at you like, why are you doing this? Like, stop it. He would just give you this evil look. He would just stare at you, and we just did it for the fun.
Yeah.
But it was very fun. I like that. That's one of the games that I really, really enjoyed. And I remember that I was so small still, and this bazooka was so heavy, like, to carry, because it's I don't know, like, probably, okay,
It was like 1.5 to 2 feet long. Yeah, it was pretty good size.
It was pretty good size,
for
yeah.
a gun.
And it was heavy too. It was thick plastic. So yeah, I remember just, struggling. I enjoyed it so much that I didn't care that much. But then after I stopped playing, I would really feel it on my shoulder and my hands. So yeah, just imagine a little Mariel playing with a giant bazooka.
Marielitai.
Marielitai. Yeah, it was very funny. Oh, and we also had, I don't know if you ever played this one, Mario Paint.
No.
That
didn't
was
have
my...
Mario Paint.
No, what?
That was Super Nintendo.
Yeah, that was also Super
didn't have
Nintendo.
a
But
Super Nintendo.
none of your friends had it that you could play it. Oh man, that is my second favorite video game from the Super Nintendo. Because you could do anything. You could paint. There were a bunch of mini games where you could kill some flies, and then there would be a boss at the end of the round, and it was really fun. You could also do music. And there's a bunch of videos. I'm sure if you guys Google this, or if you Google look it up on YouTube, there's a bunch of videos of people making music with Mario Paint. You could make music, and it was just so cool. It was such a creative game, and it came with a little mouse pad and a mouse. That was my first experience with a little mouse, because it was such a tiny little mouse for tiny little hands, because it was meant for kids. So it was adorable. And my dad purchased that one specifically for me. He purchased other games for my brother, but that one was specifically for me, so it kind of made me feel special.
Well, so obviously I told the story about how I started with a Game Boy. I did not have another console until the Super Nintendo came out. And the only reason I got a console then was I had worked really hard for my dad. I mean, I was just a couple years old.
But you said that you didn't have a Super Nintendo.
Correct. I did not get a Super Nintendo. I got the NES. My neighbors who made more money and got the cool toys got the Super Nintendo and then wanted to get some money for their NES. It had 20-something games, 2 controllers, the system obviously, and I think I had probably like $45 saved up. I don't know how I made that kind of money at that age, but I did. And my parents said, well, for your birthday, we'll give you the rest of the money. So I got the NES for my birthday. They set me up in the garage. Had all my cousins come over, and we were playing the original Legend of Zelda.
Oh, man.
Super Mario 1, 2, and 3. I think the original Icarus, Kid Icarus, I think is what it was called.
I never played that one.
Okay,
I never had it.
I don't really remember it. We just had tons of games that weren't very good. Duck Hunt and Mario were obviously big ones. But that was really that kind of experience. And I have vivid memories of we set up a tent in the garage and played all night. Like, just left the big garage door open, the back door open, let the breeze roll through, and we played video games all through the night.
That's such a cool memory to have. That's awesome.
And yeah, like that was a great time with my cousins, and my parents forgot they had an Atari. And at some point found it and brought it out. And so then we had like the old second or third edition Atari. I don't really know. But we had Pac-Man and things like that. And so that was fun.
Yeah.
But I didn't then get another console until the Nintendo 64, where I begged for it. I had to beg for it for Christmas. And I'm like, please, please, please. He got me Turok. And Super Nintendo 64,
really?
yeah, and my dad always had this thing of like, oh, we couldn't find it, it was sold out, sorry, you'll just have to wait till we can find it. And I'm like, oh, okay, and I'd be a little sad on Christmas Day or my birthday or whatever. It was usually Christmas, I think. And then he'd like pull it out of nowhere,
surprise you with it.
Yeah, I'm like, so I play that, Legend of Zelda. I think that would have had to been middle school, I think. Somewhere around there, and I just remember Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time suddenly took over my entire...
gosh, that game is a masterpiece.
I had the gold edition for it, so maybe that wasn't the year it came out. That might have been the next year.
Probably.
And stupid me, after I completed 100% completion in the game, sold it to buy Majora's Mask.
No!
So I didn't have the gold cartridge anymore, and then they didn't give me a gold cartridge for my pre-order. So I didn't even have that anymore, and I was devastated.
Disappointed. Yeah, of course. Well, Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time is like one of my favorite games. Like, it's just, there is no
It was a game changer.
It completely. It just renovated and it just made the whole industry completely different.
Yep.
It was amazing. Like the soundtrack, the game mechanics, like the story, everything was just so good.
Going back, it's terrible now, but
Oh no, I still like we've watched other channels
Yeah.
play it and we're still enjoying the story. Like we're still enjoying how fun it is. Like,
yeah, the story's still good, but I just mean like going back and thinking how. Sorry, I've got the hiccups. We were eating before this, so if I kind of stutter or anything, that's because I have the hiccups.
hiccups and sick. Yeah.
So I just remember watching other content creators playing it and thinking like, oh my gosh, the world's so small. I felt like it took forever to run from one point to the other, or you finally get the horse and I'm like, yes, I can do it in less than a day.
Yeah, I know.
And-
Or the bunny ears.
Or bunny ears.
Yeah, well, there was a mask.
Oh,
That-
Majora's Mask.
No, it was still in Ocarina of Time.
Do I remember that?
Yeah, you got it from the mailman that was running around the.
Okay, I think I
So,
picture him.
I-
It wasn't a mask. It was like a headband. It wasn't a mask,
No,
was it?
Man, now I have to Google
Oh,
this.
you don't need to Google
I'm
it.
gonna
You don't need to Google it.
I'm gonna Google it. There it is, a bunny hood. Ocarina of Time, the bunny hood.
So, not a mask.
Ah, wow, wow. I'm sorry.
I didn't finish Majora's Mask, by the way.
I know you've told me that before,
Mm-hmm.
which makes me sad. Well, the thing with Majora's Mask is I like Majora's Mask. I don't have like a lot of things against it. The only thing that I didn't like is the time crunch. And having a timer in the bottom, oh, it just triggers me so much. It just I can't. It stresses me out because I am one of those people. I'm a gamer that enjoys completing everything. My favorite type of video games are RPGs. Final Fantasy is like my thing. So I play Final Fantasy for days, months, even years to complete everything. So having a game that puts a time limit and have it there all the time, because I know that you can always turn back time and everything, that's part of the game, that's how you complete things, but I just did not like it. And it's one of the reasons why Lightning's Return, Final Fantasy Lightning's Return, I haven't played that one. Like I started playing it and then I got the timer and I'm like, and I'm done. So I may return to it eventually, in
Like
the
Lightning?
future. Huh?
Like lightning.
Oh my god. James. Ladies and gentlemen, James for you. Clap it. Anywho, I may return to the game eventually, because I would like to finish the game, but it's in my to-do list, like really like low,
Yeah.
all the way down to my to-do list.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, that's why I like Majora's Mask, and there's a bunch of jokes that I use from Majora's Mask, like the did you hear about the kidnapping? Yeah, but then the kid woke up. Ah ha ha. It's one of those jokes that is just like, it's so silly and I
Yeah.
love it. And I use it with people that haven't played Majora's Mask. So I sound funny sometimes. Ha ha. Anyways, it's a good game, but I just don't like the whole timer in the bottom.
Right. And is that going when you're in dungeons as well?
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might have been one of the things that turned me off to it, because I did try the game, but maybe it was just timing or whatever. It wasn't Ocarina of Time, even though it was same art, same style, everything. Like, I didn't like that I wouldn't become Adult Link. Like,
Well, if you would have finished the game, I mean, spoiler or no spoiler?
I mean, I'm not going to play it.
Spoiler for those who also haven't finished it, you can turn into Adult Link.
In
What-
play?
Yeah, when you're there's a mask that you can get that turns you into this really cool looking adult Link, but you can only use it in boss fights.
Oh,
But you can turn into adult Link.
Okay.
He's a really cool looking too.
okay.
But yeah. Anyways, childhood video games. What other game? Let me
Super
see.
Smash Brothers.
Oh, Super Smash Brothers, of course.
I remember the commercial. I still can't hear that. It's me and you and me.
And
no matter
copyright music, so don't keep singing.
That song has been changed for me forever. And I was so excited when that game came out and unlocking the characters. That's the only fighting game that I've played that I enjoyed. Mm-hmm. And I always thought I was decent at it. Never considered myself good, but I could play and keep up with my friends, win.
Yeah.
But
Who
yeah.
was your character?
Link, and then I think when young Link was introduced, he became my character because he was faster. Didn't do as much damage,
But he was faster.
He was
Jump
faster.
higher too, I think.
And I like speedy characters.
Mine was Samus. All the way. Samus Aran. Oh my gosh, my girl. I love her.
Well, I did get to play Link's Awakening, which was a Game Boy title, and the 2 Seasons and Time, I think is what they were called.
I don't remember. I never played that one.
Yeah, I'll have to look it up. That was really interesting. It was one of the first times they were trying to do. This probably was around the time that Pokemon came to the U.S.
Oh my gosh.
They released these 2 Legend of Zelda games which work together. If you finished, like, let's say you played Seasons and then went and played Time, you could enter the code that Seasons gave you and that would affect the next game or vice versa. So you could either have different items or it might change events or characters. I think that's what they were called. I don't know.
Cool.
I'll put them in so you can see what they look like.
Yeah.
But I got really excited about those. I loved the 2D adventures. Other than Ocarina of Time, I loved the 2D adventures way more than the 3D. I didn't get into the really cartoony one.
Oh, Wind Waker.
Wind Waker, yeah. So
Wind Waker.
Wind Waker, yeah. And I didn't care for the Sky People one, like whatever that was for the Wii, or Twilight Princess. All of those, they seemed like interesting games. I just didn't have the interest to dive into them. Breath of the Wild is sitting in the other room collecting dust.
One of her friends, David. Hi, David. In case you're listening, we still haven't played the game.
No, I don't even think the Wii's hooked up since we moved.
No, we haven't hooked it up yet. We might stream that game.
Yeah,
it's something that we've talked about.
Considered.
But yeah, if we do, follow us on Twitch so you guys get notified. Our Twitch channels are gonna be in the description down below. Self promo.
Also known as the doobly-doo.
Also known as the doobly-doo. It's like you know me.
I've heard you promote a few times.
So yeah, well, Wind Waker. Is it Wind Waker or Wind Maker?
Wind Waker.
Wind Waker. That one I didn't play that much. My younger brother did, and I used to watch him play it. And the only thing I played for that one was there was a little kind of like a mini game that it was like a puzzle. You know how there's like it's a square and it's a picture but it's scrambled and you have to move the little
mosaic.
square pieces. Yeah, a mosaic, and you have to organize them. I was really good at that. I must say. There were some that were super easy because then it starts escalating,
Yeah.
But then the harder ones, when my little brother couldn't do it, I would do it for him. So I say that I was good at it.
I have a story about that as well.
Okay, go ahead.
PlayStation 2 was the first time they introduced a formal hard drive to the system, but it came separately. You had to buy Final Fantasy, the RPG, Final Fantasy Online.
Oh, I mean, like all of them are RPGs.
Well, sorry, the MMO RPG.
Okay, yeah.
Well,
there's 11 and 14.
Okay, so it would have been 11, I think. If you purchased it for PlayStation 2, it came with a hard drive. The only other game that used that hard drive, and I know because I had both of them, was the Resident Evil Online game. Where
really?
Yeah. I hated the game. It was so bad. It's so hard to communicate. No idea what you were doing. Nobody could work together. Someone would like, hey, I need healing. But it would just sound like it came from all directions. And you'd have no idea how to get to them or do anything. So they'd end up dying. But if you downloaded it to your hard drive, the 30 or 40 minutes, however long it took to download the game, you got to spend your time playing a Mosaic. And it was just like history and background information from the game. And so I would do that over and over to get the backstory. And then I realized I really enjoyed it.
Those games are fun.
I kept re-downloading it. And I would spend just like 40 minutes to see how fast I could get through, how many I could get through. And I remember almost getting through the whole cycle twice.
Wow.
Which that doesn't tell you anything. It was like 10, 20. I don't know how many it was. I just remember bragging about it like someone cared. And my friends are like, get a life. Okay.
Good for you.
Yeah. So that was my Mosaic story.
They're fun. It's just, I don't know. I like not having to worry about time and just being able to just do something fun and creative. I don't know. I like that. Okay, so games for PlayStation 1. So PlayStation 1 was the first console that introduced me to Final Fantasy. The first Final Fantasy that I played was Final Fantasy 8, which is probably the reason why I like Final Fantasy 8 and why that was my favorite. But yeah, that was the first time I played it, and I actually played it because I got it as a demo from another game that we purchased, which was Brave Fencer Musashi. We purchased that one from my younger brother, and it's a really fun game, by the way. They make a lot of word puns.
Okay.
One of the places is called All You Can Eat Palace. All you can eat, but they spell it in a weird way. I mean, when you say it out loud, it's All You Can Eat Palace, but they spell it All You Can Eat or something like that. So it's clever. And then the Evil Empire is like Thirst Quencher or something like that. It's like they make a lot of word puns, and it's so funny. It's a really good video game. But anyways, it came with 2 demos, and one of the demos was Final Fantasy 8, and I just fell in love with it. And then we purchased it, and it was like, oh, the best thing in the world for me. That's kind of like my childhood game.
Yeah.
I think I was either in middle school or high school. I think it was middle school when I first played that, and it was just such a great game. Amazing story, character development, amazing, like music. And
David Boreanaz.
Okay, David Boreanaz was Squall, but on Kingdom Hearts. Back then, they didn't have voice actors. The disc couldn't hold that much information.
Weak.
So then eventually I started playing Final Fantasy 7 and then 5 and 6 and blah. I don't think I played the very first one. But yeah, then obviously I purchased all of the rest of them except for 11. I never got to play 11, but I got 9, 10, and... okay. I got super excited, but James is kind of like, okay, move on.
You didn't
Final
play 11.
Fantasy.
You didn't play 11. That's okay. Final Fantasy 11 was not fun. I did not enjoy it.
The MMO, that's the online one.
Yeah, I had the hard drive. I could only accomplish anything if I had friends online, and my friends all played without me because they wanted to. And so I'd show up and I'd be multiple levels behind. I'm like, well, how many hours is it going to take me to catch up? 10 to 12 hours. I don't have that, and you guys will be just that much farther ahead. So I gave up.
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
Kind of like me with Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
I didn't have anybody to play with, and then eventually my younger brother started playing it, but he played it without me, and he's like super ahead, and I'm like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be able to catch up. Like, there's no way.
Yeah.
Just by myself, there's no way, because he can't really play with me anymore because he's so far ahead.
Right.
So yeah, but then I talked about how I discovered my favorite video game. How did you discover your favorite video game?
So, my favorite video game franchise would be Resident Evil by Capcom.
Yes.
My parents, when I was young, didn't really want me getting into a bunch of scary stuff. When I was young, when I grew up, it changed. But when I was, 10 years old, they weren't really fond of it. But I would spend my summers in Spokane with my cousins at their place, who were much more open with the types of games we get to play.
Yeah.
And so one year my cousin's like, I've got this game. It's called Resident Evil. And he shows me the director's cut box art, and it looks bad. And he's like, it's the scariest video game I've ever played.
Well, I mean, back then.
Oh yeah. And I'm dramatizing it a little bit.
Yeah.
But he's like, do you want to watch me play? And I'm like, yeah, I don't think I could play it. I'll watch you.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember just being hooked. And we played it start to finish over a week. I mean, we were young, so we died a lot. There was issues. I love they had this like video at the beginning, live action, and it's so cheesy. Look it up, please, for the love, look it up. After this podcast's over, but look it up.
Yeah.
It's so bad. But I loved it, and it actually made me want to direct film. That was part of the reason I wanted to get into movie making. And this game was a big part of that. And then Resident Evil 2 came out, all on systems I didn't have. PlayStation 2, when I finally got that, I picked up Code Veronica, Resident Evil Code Veronica X. Played through that. Hated parts of it.
Of course.
And went back, collected some of the older games as I could. And then the GameCube remake of Resident Evil came out, and I just devoured it. Tried to go for the world record and beating it. Achievements.
Although I don't think there were...
No. It was just you could unlock stuff. Yeah. And I went and tried to do everything. Got really into it. Played everything. Even in high school, not that these will ever see the light of day, I talked a bunch of my friends into actually making our own live-action adaptations of Resident Evil 1 and 2. And we tried to do that with the school equipment until they found out. They're like, oh, we're not going to do this anymore. Then we continued doing it.
My gosh.
we used a lot of copyrighted music. It'll never go on YouTube. But that was awesome. So Resident Evil's definitely got a sweet spot in my heart.
It's just... Go ahead.
Oh, no. Resident Evil, the original style's great. 4 was fun. 5 and 6 I'm not a fan of. 7, amazing return to its roots. And I want to play that again. I've only played through it once, and I need to play through it again.
Oh, that's the thing with video games. Like, I see that a lot of people still have like this... It's not called karma. I'm trying to find the word in English. Stigma, maybe? Like, video games have this stigma that, it ruins children's lives.
Yeah,
What is it called? What's the word?
Stigma works.
Stigma?
Yeah.
Okay. So I see that a lot of people still see that there's a stigma, but there really isn't. Like, video games for me, I'm Mexican, born and raised there my entire life. But playing video games was one of the reasons that I could learn English. It allowed me to learn English and be better at it. Yes, I studied English at school, but playing video games at home, and back then there were no options to turn it into Spanish. So if I wanted to progress in a story, I had to understand the English language. And if I didn't know a word, pull up the dictionary, because back then there was no Google. So pull up a dictionary and find it. Like, video games can help you do so many things. Like, they taught me English. Well, they helped me understand and learn English. And it also, like, Final Fantasy was one of the reasons why it made me want to become a writer. Like, I want to tell stories. I want to write stories. I want to do this because of all the amazing stories that Final Fantasy comes up with. Like, there's just, like, they're great. Every video game is a different story. And that's what, just what I mean. I think the point that I'm trying to make is that video games can also help people, as they help me understand and learn English and make me want to become a writer. They helped you want to become a filmmaker, like do videos, like also storytelling. Like, playing video games, it's amazing. I highly recommend it, and I'm sure that you guys listening probably also play video games. That's why you're here. But yeah, like, it's just, they're amazing. I love them. They're a huge part of our lives, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say. I just love video games so much.
Well, I mean, it's also something that brought us together.
Yes.
And that's something we could go into in another podcast, not something we need to go into tonight, but that could be a good story for another day.
Video games bring people together.
Exactly.
And they brought us together. Aww. But all right, I think this is a pretty good stopping point for today's podcast. Wouldn't you agree, James?
Yeah, I just like that we both did that. Yeah.
At the same time, without even planning it. Yeah.
We finished each other's sandwiches.
That's how perfect we are for each other.
Yep.
Well, that's going to be it for today's podcast, guys. We hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, do not forget to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel if you're new. Go ahead and check out James's channel. It's going to be in the description down below. And my gaming channels in English and Spanish are also going to be in the description down below. Also known as the Doobly Doo. But I guess we'll see you guys in the next podcast, which we still don't know what it's gonna be about. But if you guys have any suggestions for any future topics or themes, let us know, and we'll go ahead and write them down on our to-do things
Handy dandy
notebook. Love you guys. We'll
Jeez.
see you next one.
Bye, guys.
Bye.